Hi there, parental units. Me over here, down on the bottom right, down here. Hi, welcome to Back to School Night. If you are watching this, that means I am not actually here. Well, I'm here right now, but not then. I have a prior commitment which I'm trying to get there for, get from there to you, but chances are it might not happen, so I'm recording this ahead of time to fill you in on what your kids are doing right now. You're in Period 1, AP Biology with Mr. Haas. Let me tell you a little background about myself. I am one of the original founding teachers here, one of the two science teachers that started the department some 10 years ago now. We're in our 10th year. My background, more specifically, I grew up in San Diego. I went to University City High School, that's down over there by the mall by UTC, and then went off to college at UCLA and, as a pre-med, animal physiology and neuroscience. Finished my undergrad at UCSD, then went back to UCLA for grad school, and started teaching in LA. I was trained specifically to teach in, let's call it, a different type of environment than what CCA is. I was trained to teach in a low-income environment, which frankly fits perfectly at CCA because it's all the same stuff. You treat the kids all the same way. So now I've been here at CCA for 10 years, teaching science. The classes that I teach are AP Biology, Quest, all 3 levels, and then in the spring I teach Anatomy Physiology. Let me talk a little bit about the class and what your kids have been doing, how they learn, and so on. The formatting of the AP test changed last year, so we modified the class and rewrote the entire thing from the bottom up. And even since last year have changed a bunch of stuff. What we learned from the test last year is very similar to the Common Core standards that are now presenting themselves into schools. The reading comprehension, the ability to pull out information from questions to then, from passages to then answer questions, is a very, very big focus of the tests now. In fact, I would argue that you didn't really have to even know what you were talking about. If you could read well and pull out information, you could still probably get a 3 on the test. Now for us last year, we had 1 student not pass. I still was not happy with the scores, even though only 1 student didn't pass, because I expect somewhere along the lines of 75–80% with 5s. This is the level at which I expect your kids will achieve, and as we've modified the class again this year, hopefully we'll get to that level with 100% passage rate. So we encourage them to do a lot of learning at home through the book, reading comprehension type stuff, and then they take notes and or answer questions on those things. Sometimes they watch videos like this. We call it, as you might have heard, a flipped scenario, where they watch some of the lectures at home. We don't lecture on every chapter. They have to learn to learn on their own as well. Although they do come back into class and we have class discussions on topics and answer questions. And then we test their learning in class by having them answer questions without using the book as review and filling in. And then we review those and talk about those and so on. So lots of opportunity for dialogue between the students themselves and the teacher, myself, with which to learn. So far this has gone well. We've also done a couple labs, which are often very difficult for students because of the level of detail that we require and ask for. They're used to just spitting out information that happened and doesn't incorporate much analysis, and now they really have to think and incorporate some analysis into their projects, their ideas. We format the exams as well. We've taken 2 exams so far, much like the AP test, which incorporates multiple choice, short answer questions, calculation questions, and then essays. All those in some arrangement can be found on the test. All of them will be. The only one that's questionable depending on the unit is calculations. Not all units have the ability to ask calculation questions on them. So one thing you're going to find with the way that I run classes, those of you that haven't had me before, are that I really like to push and challenge the students to learn and to kind of go beyond their comfort zone with where they think they can be or get to. Some students initially struggle with this. They're used to things being easy for them. They're not used to being challenged. They're not used to failing at various times, which to me is okay. That's the process of learning. And many of them, if you ask me, don't entirely know how to think about this material yet. They don't know how to get deep, kind of dirty with the material. They just are used to memorizing these topics as opposed to understanding. And we really take these questions and make them think outside the box to the point where, do you really understand this information that you're being asked to learn? I will tell you that many of them are doing very well and learning, and we're enjoying, and some of your students are struggling, which happens every year in these classes. That doesn't mean they're in over their head. That just means they don't know how to learn this complex level of material yet. And one of the reasons I think that is because of what I like to call pretend studying. Okay? Pretend studying is basically when they say, Mr. Haas, I studied so hard for this test, but I did really awful. I don't think I'll ever understand this stuff. Or I suck at taking tests, or all that kind of BS that we hear all the time. Okay? Is it possible you're pretend studying? Well, what does that mean? Anything that resembles studying but doesn't allow your brain to form this new knowledge. So, includes highlighting the text. In fact, current research shows that the single worst way you can learn something is by highlighting. Stop highlighting. Reading while doing something else, such as watching TV or listening to music or texting someone or Facebooking someone or blah, blah, blah. All that they should not be doing when they're studying. They should sit down for a good portion of time, no distractions, and learn. Creating beautiful flashcards in color with fantastic pictures and so on. Most people don't actually learn very well from flashcards. They're a good way to test yourself, but they don't learn as much. So I'm not always a big fan of flashcards. Some people use them properly. Memorizing without actually understanding. Socializing, so working together. I'm going to study at Jane's house. Okay, are they really studying or are they doing something else? Just because they have their book open doesn't mean they're doing anything. In class, many of them like to waste their time. I've already today, in fact, 4 of your students have extra homework because they decided I didn't give them enough work to be doing in class. And as I was going around, I saw them playing video games on their stuff. So we pulled those away and got them working, of course. It's really about how much effort they choose to put in. If they come home saying, I'm done with my homework, I would recommend that you quiz or test them on the stuff that they learned. Have them regurgitate it. Don't let them look at their notes. Have them explain to you some of these topics and ask questions. Even if you have no clue what you're talking about, prod them on what it is they're learning. Most students also like to relearn stuff they already know because it's very easy and it makes them feel like they are smart, as opposed to pushing themselves on the things that they don't and being okay with not getting things right and really pushing through that. Okay. So, real studying, creating and discussing your own concept maps, writing and answering your own test questions. I bet most of the students haven't done that. Reading the book alongside your notes and comparing and contrasting the information in both. We give the students full outlines. We give them learning objectives. I tell students to rewrite the notes on their own without looking at anything and then compare and see what they do know and what they don't know and focus their efforts there. That's what we see there, writing everything you can remember about a topic. And only using flashcards in proper format, writing down the answer before you peek at the answer, of course. And then not being afraid to get things wrong. Okay, so that's what I call pretend studying. You're welcome to share that with your kids. And then lastly, I want to walk you through the web page and where you can find all this information. So I'm assuming most of you can get to here through the school links, and then you'll go to AP Biology, of course. And then here there's various resources for them, okay? I'll start here at the daily agenda. This is generally where they're going to be finding all their information, and we post the stuff that we've done in class, what their homework is, and then additional resources that they need to or can print. These are there for them. This is generally how we pass along information for them through the website. There's also a link here that has various lectures from different chapters that we've done in the past. Many of them are boring because I did them when I was boring. I try to make them a little more interesting now, but they're all here with some different guides and so on for all the different chapters. These are lecture notes, so they can use those. They're there and available. And then there's also an online text, which the information was posted for the students to take care of, to get online, and it includes practice questions and crossword puzzles and things like that, and also an online version of the text that they can use. There's some review documents through various topics from all the different chapters that they can use. The passwords for these are either my last name, H-A-A-S with a capital H, or the word ravens with a capital R, depending on the file, but many of these have to be password protected. And then lastly, there's some useful links here that I've found various type of information. There's all kinds of good resources, animations on YouTube and so on that they can be accessing to learn. So with that said, the last thing that I would say is thank you for coming, and if you have any suggestions, ways that you think you can help either through a guest lecture in class, or you can provide some donations for various things that we do with labs in any science discipline, I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to drop me an email. You can find my email through the school website, and thank you very much for listening. Enjoy second period.